Welcome to the Lady NightHawk show, where we talk about all types of topics, okay? We have a guest here that's been here before, but tonight he brought someone else with him that actually works with the organization. And I'm gonna have him, I'm gonna have him introduce himself, then I'm gonna have him introduce his wife. But I also want you to know that you see us with masks on tonight, okay? It is not mandatory that when you come into the studio or the building that you have to wear a mask. I have mine on because they got something that's going around. They say it's not COVID, but it's running rapid in people's households. And so you don't know where people been or whether they've been to a restaurant or where they've been. So I've been telling you guys the whole time, I never stop carrying my mask with me, okay? Yeah. The reason why I don't wear it on this show that often is because we sitting at least 6 feet apart, okay? But I just felt like, because I know that there's so many people that's out there that are catching whatever this is, and it's spreading through your house like wildfire. One person gets it, has it for like 3 or 4 days, and then the next person has it, and it just goes on and on. And they tell me that the second person that catches it in the house has it worse than the first person that had it in the house. And so I'm saying to you guys, please, please, put a mask in your pocket so when you go in the store, I don't care where you are, when you're around a group of people, please put your mask on, because I do not want them to have another shutdown, okay? Yeah. We know where we are now with the economy. It's not that great, okay? We don't want that to happen again. So I'm asking you, please go out and buy those masks. Please make sure your children are wearing masks to school, okay, so that they will not get sick. They're saying that it's the flu. I don't know what it is, okay? I had my flu shot, I've had my pneumonia shot, I've had my COVID shot, okay? But I'm not sure what this is, and we don't know. So I'm asking you, please, to be safe with your family and friends and people that you come out involved in the street. In these stores and shopping centers, please take your mask. Please put your mask on, okay? Now, I'm gonna put my mask back on because I got 2 guests here and they're gonna talk, okay? They got theirs too. All right. There you go.
I can okay.
So, my name is Mayor Max. I have been on the Lady NightHawk show before, and it's been quite a gift and quite a privilege.
Hey, so thank you.
We're thrilled to be back again. I'm the director of the MindKnit Veterans National Adaptive Life Judo Program. We were selected in a nationwide competition to deliver this health program to veterans all over the country, from the East Coast up to the Great Lakes, down to Texas and Florida and Atlanta, and all the way over to San Jose and Los Angeles. And we're looking at taking some of the lessons learned with our veterans with disabilities and our elder veterans who are just starting to learn the combat sport of judo, in addition to learning how to move and how to balance safely, starting in their 70s to 90s, 90 years of age.
Wow.
So anyone can do this. We have veterans with stroke, whose brains aren't controlling their arms and their legs as well as they used to. We're rebuilding that capability. We have veterans that have cerebral multiple sclerosis, that have trouble scheduling, etc. We find ways so that we can always remind them and connect. And what we set out to do was to prove that we could include everyone with any mental health, physical health, age, medical challenges, etc., and we leave no one behind, no veteran sister or brother. And we bring their families together too. And we have a group that will help to heal one another and help to heal across the country.
I appreciate that. And so I want you to introduce this beautiful lady that's sitting next to you, okay?
So now to my right is Shiela Max, registered nurse.
Do I know you?
She knows me casually. We've been married for a number of years, 39.
Yeah, 39.
So we're more than casually acquainted.
Oh, yes.
And we each bring something different to this. We have female veterans who feel comfortable with the fact we have joint female and male leadership. We have different energy, we have different skills. I'm a DARPA telehealth researcher and an expert for NIH clinical neuroscience. Sheila is a registered nurse, and she's used to how do you raise folks with autism, connection difficulties. We've done research with children with autism and on, and Sheila's skills are different and unique, and they're just as important to our veterans as any other mechanical or neurological skill.
And you also have Sheila. You can tell us about these
Okay.
guys, okay? You also have some children that are, but they're not children. They're adults. Young. They would kill me if they that lady
that's
called
all
me a
right.
child. No, they are young adults.
Young
Would you tell us about them?
Okay, we have been blessed with 3 wonderful sons. Our eldest son was diagnosed at 15, 16 months as being autistic, and that was back when there just wasn't that much known. You know, they said, yeah, your kid's autistic, good luck with that. And so it became kind of a family, not a job, but a mission, that how do you reach in and help guide them out while still being respectful of the fact that there are certain things that Jared is just never going to be comfortable with. And his brothers, we have 2 more boys, both highly educated, crazy smart, all 3 of them. And Jared would not be the person that he is were it not for the fact that he has these 2 amazing brothers. Jared had never spoken to us in a meaningful fashion. He liked to sit on the floor in front of the TV and rock his body and watch Sesame Street. So the first brother was starting to learn how to pull himself up on things, to learn how to walk. Well, he just thought it was really interesting that he had this thing in the middle of the floor. So he'd crawl over to Jared, grab him by the shirt, and pull himself up to stand and laugh and laugh. And finally, one day I was in the kitchen and I look over and here's Jared. And he's staring at me like I'm not doing my job. And I said, is there something wrong? Make him stop. Those were the first 3 words that he ever said to us. And of course, my first response, well, you want to go, oh my God. I said, no, I'm sorry, honey. If you want him to stop, you have to find your words and you have to tell him. And that was the start of the connection between the 2 of them. They are, and of course, you know, I'm their mom. I think they're wonderful. But they are amazing human beings.
And I'm quite sure that they are. And you remind me of a friend that when I worked at Kaiser Permanente, that she had a son that had autism. And he would do the same thing. He would rock in front of things. And they were trying to tell him, you know, the best to you, you know what I mean? But she said, I refuse to let them tell me that I have a throwaway kid. That's what the term that she used at the time.
They did.
And she said that what I will do is that I will work with this child if I have to quit my job. Because she had 2 other children. This was the youngest one. She worked with that boy. She went to school with him. She made sure they didn't want to put him in school. She went to the council where she lived, made them have to put her in a special program. And I rode past her house one day after I started working for them. I hadn't talked to her in a while. Now this guy's a young man.
Right.
He knows how to drive. Okay? When he saw me, he remembered me. And that was long time ago.
An amazing memory.
He remembered who I was, and that right there made me just break out and cry. And I'm gonna stop talking about him, but I understand that what it takes, you know, that people should not give up, because these children are just like any other children. They just have a different kind of need, and you can't give up on them. And I was so glad to hear that story that you said, you know.
We were told, because this was back when they were barely stopping the whole the frigid mother, the ambivalent mother theory, that what caused it is that the mother did not necessarily want the child, and that's why the child, which is craziness. So, but we were told, you know, him speaking with us, interacting with us was going to be
never. And this boy speaks, he talks.
They said he would probably never know we existed in the world.
And that's not true.
And then they told us he would probably never graduate preschool.
Oh,
and
that's
then
not true.
elementary, and
They
then
just kept
middle,
rolling it
and then
and rolling
high
it.
school.
Yeah.
He graduated with honors from University of Maryland, Baltimore County with a degree in computer art. And
Digital art and animation.
he's incredibly talented. Can be a bit of a challenge at times. But I mean, people say, oh, he's very high functioning. It's like, yeah, well, high functioning in that his parents, his family, his brothers, we just never gave up on it.
Right, and she never gave up on her son.
Right.
She never gave up on him. And he used to do some destructive things now. You know, he threw something to her big old TV, you know what I mean? But she had to teach him how not to do those kinds of things. But if you saw him today, you would not know that this is, like you said, your child has a degree.
Yeah.
You understand? You would not know. Just think that if you had just listened
he
to what somebody
drives.
told you.
He
drives
manages his
too.
own money. He drives. He does his own laundry. I
Yes.
jokingly have said to his brother, "Man, you know, you could learn a few things
Right.
The laundry part.
the laundry part."
Right.
But yeah, But even still, looking at the younger two, there is a little bit of a something going on in there. But as we were talking about before, Jared's delivery was very,
Traumatic.
very bad.
Yeah.
And so we're sort of the opinion that he probably would have been a particular degree of autistic, but then adding into the insult and the lack of oxygen, that it just sort of turned it up. But he's handsome and he's funny, and yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's like I just the autism piece. You know, we hadn't planned on talking about
Right.
it, but it's just as important as us talking
Yeah.
about these veterans.
the autism piece taught us how to work with veterans with
Yes.
stroke who have
Okay.
trouble with communication.
Yes. Yes.
So they're in the
Balances
same
up.
world,
Right.
We had-
and there are similar ways to reach
We
in.
had a sort of a running joke that I speak emotional autism, that when Jared was younger, he would listen to me talking so that he could figure out the words that he wanted to use
Use
in order
out of what you were saying.
out of what I was saying. And so we were talking about the face. One of our veterans from
Gregory.
very early on, Gregory, he had had a massive stroke and had been left on the floor of his room for like 11 hours or something.
Wow.
So he was very affected. He had an arm that was up like this, and he dragged his foot. And so they brought him in to where we were doing the class, and he's sitting there, and he was mad. He was just mad.
Right.
And Maris said, "You a Marine?"
Well,
Because he had the hat.
yeah, I cheated. He had a hat that said U.S. Marine Corps Vietnam.
And he said, "Do you want to get up, take your shoes off, get up on the mat, and do some judo?" Well, within a short period of time, he was no longer dragging his leg.
Right.
But one thing that bothered me was I was watching one day, and I noticed that he had cuts and damage in the palm of his hand, because his hand was
So tight.
Yep.
and had long, hard fingernails. And they
Nobody
would
had cut
dig in.
them.
No one had
Nobody.
cut them in I don't know how long. So to the class, I started bringing a basin and soap and lotion, and I would work on his hand and work on his hand and work to stretch his arm out. And at one point, Mayor said across the
judo
gym,
mat.
he said, "How come he gets a hand massage and I don't?"
With warm water.
With warm water. And I said, "Because Gregory is my boyfriend."
Uh-oh.
And he went,
And he went,
He said yes.
he could only say one or two words at a time. Like,
okay.
okay.
"Okay." And he thought that was hysterical. And
Right.
every time I'm doing this for Mayor because he's my boyfriend. And Gregory would laugh and laugh and laugh.
Right.
When he passed away, both Mayor and I were asked by his family to speak at his homegoing.
Wow.
As part of the family.
Wow.
And I got up and I said, "Well, a lot of you are probably wondering what an aging white woman is doing." Talking about,
This is at the podium in front of the whole church.
Right, right.
and I said, "Well, it's because, you see, Gregory was my boyfriend." And so I told the story of how that all
the
started.
three women in the front row are
Women
nodding.
going, and I had no idea who these people were.
Right.
And so when I was done speaking and the service was
Well,
winding,
the minister went
Oh, yeah.
back up to the podium and he said, I have presided over many of these homegoings, but I can tell you, this is the first one I've ever presided over where a woman stood up and said that the recently departed was her boyfriend, and a fight did not break out in the pews.
That is so funny.
And the whole church busted out
Well,
laughing.
That is so funny.
Which they needed. They hadn't seen him during COVID for
Okay.
3 years.
Oh.
He was behind the nursing home
Right.
walls
Right.
and in the VA hospital.
Right, right.
So, oh my goodness.
right.
So, yeah, and I'll tell you, there
The
is
three women came up
Oh,
to
the three women. Yeah, when we were done, these three women came up, and I had joked about the fact that Gregory was a dog. He liked women. And that whenever a new woman came into our class, Gregory would try to get me to go and ask them if they had a boyfriend.
Because he didn't have any speech from the stroke.
Yeah,
but he knew that
How
I
to
got him.
do
And
that,
finally I said
right.
to him, listen, dude, this is not 7th grade.
Right.
Okay, I'm not going to say, do you like him, yes or no?
Right,
And I said, but he loved women.
right.
Loved women. So these three women came up to me afterwards and said, there are 3 of his ex-wives. Only 3 of them.
There were more.
There
Three
were
of them
more.
came to his homegoing.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
For real, for real.
For real, for real. Got
Okay.
married on Valentine's Day and got divorced on Valentine's
The next day. All righty.
Trying
So
to-
let's go. Let's turn this back around. Back to Maine. That's funny. Okay, listen. You have a clip that you want us to see
Yes.
right quick, because we getting ready to come. But thank you for that
No.
story.
Well, what it shows is that these veterans are people, and people with stroke, even when they don't have speech, they have thoughts and emotions, and they care. And on Valentine's Day, Gregory we taught him how to walk again, how to move, how to flex his arm. We did training of his brain, and he would always run down to the far end of the hospital, get a big box of chocolates, bring it back, and make all the men look terrible.
Oh, that's terrible.
So.
But go ahead. This clip that we have, though, is important.
So this is very important. This last Veterans Day, we were at the World War II Memorial for Maryland, right across the river and overlooking the U.S. Naval Academy. And this is Attorney General Anthony Brown, who is a U.S. Army veteran. And he gave a very special address to all of our veterans in the MindKnit Veterans Adaptive Judo Group for all the work they do for other veterans and across the country.
Okay, so let's see the clip.
Let's see the clip. This is Attorney General Anthony Brown, who's joined us here on Memorial Veterans Day. And he's going to give a greetings to all our adaptive veterans across Maryland and across the world, and to Mr. Jonathan Kirby, who's working his way back from a stroke and is going to be showing combat judo skills in a week worldwide.
Right. Well, major thank you. And yes, I'm Attorney General Anthony Brown, a proud veteran. And I first want to say to Jonathan Kirby, a dear friend of mine, a veteran. He's a veteran's veteran, someone who's always served and given back to men and women who have served our nation, to our adaptive veterans, all veterans, both here, home, and around the world. Thank you very much for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice, your courage, for you and your families. And I just wish every one of you that you're having a day as great as mine. Because any day I can wake up and be with veterans, talk about veterans, is a good day for me. So I wish the same for you and your families.
Thank you. So, we showed this clip at a recent demonstration we did at College Park Community Center, and it was sent out over Zoom all over the East Coast, from Boston, Maryland, DC, Virginia, Atlanta, Florida, Great Lakes, Michigan, Potawatomi Tribal Nation, all the way to San Jose and Los Angeles, and out to Jerusalem. And on that demonstration, we did it over Zoom, we got to play the Attorney General's address to our veterans, and specifically to Sergeant Jonathan Kirby, U.S. Marine Corps. And Sergeant Kirby said to us, this is one of the best days of my entire life. I'm going to remember this till the end of my days.
I believe that.
And that made it worth everything.
I know that. I know it did. And these people, that's Jonathan Kirby you just saw in that clip right there. Jonathan used to come on the show as one of my co-hosts. And he was the one that was sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
Now, it's another clip that you want to show with this gentleman.
So now, this is at the World War II Memorial, once again, with Congressman John Sarbanes, 3rd District of Maryland, and he gave a very gracious salutation to all our veterans and encouragement for all the good work they're doing to help with health and quality of life for all veterans.
Okay, so let's look at the clip.
Well, here we are at Veterans Day. This is Congressman John Sarbanes from Maryland's 3rd District. Certainly on this day, I want to thank our veterans for their service, but also want to give real credit to those important efforts that are underway to provide resources, support, health care, and other really important things to make sure that our veterans can live a full life. So congratulations on the terrific work.
It's an honor, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so Maynard, so these two gentlemen, both of them were at the same
Veterans event.
Veteran Day event.
As a matter of fact, it was hosted by the Cook Pinckney American Legion Post
Okay.
out of Annapolis, Maryland. The president being Gunny Sergeant Curtis Jones, who's always been a leader. He's one of our national partners and champions, along with the Jewish war veterans in Atlanta, Georgia, with Robert Max,
Okay.
who's commander for the Southeast.
Wow.
So our veterans organizations are very powerful. We bring in our Veterans Mental Health Council. We work with the one at DCVA Medical. I'm on the executive board. And Sergeant Kirby has been on the Veterans Mental Health Council for many years, helping many vets. And we've even reached out to Battle Creek, Michigan, to their Veterans Mental Health Council when we had a veteran who had health problems and difficulty with the justice system. And we managed to save him from a life where he would be removed from his family and his friends, and he's back together with us all again.
And it's Commander Charles Eggleston is with the Purple Heart. And he just did a special with Bob Woodward. Okay,
Right.
Bob Woodward talked, and then they introduced Commander Eggleston. Okay, and then they had shown him at the end, and he had to have some of the same surgery that you had.
Right.
Because of the injuries that he suffered during combat.
Right.
And he had some titanium, and he had to learn how to walk and talk and speak again. And same thing with Bob Woodward.
Right.
He had to do the same thing. And it's just so amazing to hear these stories, and then you see these people, and you would never know.
Wow.
And I said to him not too long ago, I said, man, and you too, nobody with this titanium that they're using and stuff, you're never going to grow old, okay?
My parts are worth more than the my add-on parts are worth more than the originals at this point. I have titanium across my chest.
Yeah.
I was riding on a motorcycle from Baltimore to Albany, New York, to work with the VA Medical Center on traumatic brain injury research, and a truck cut off my tire of my motorcycle at 70. 6 lanes of semis all around me, and on their way to Canada in rush hour, threw me over the top of the motorcycle, and I landed and did a judo roll, but I got a traumatic brain injury, exploded this into my chest from the pressure wave, and it took a year to be able to use my right side. I died on the highway and came back, and I thought, laying on the ground watching these truck tires go by at 70, I thought, I get to watch my son Jared on the autism spectrum graduate in 4 months from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Wow.
In 4 months, and we worked 28 years on this, and we came back, took years to come back from the brain injury, like Bob Woodward.
And Charles Commander Eggleston.
And we're teaching veterans now everything that we've learned along the way as well.
Right, I'm so glad. So he must have had another clip for you. There you go.
We have pictures, yes. So this is the worldwide and the nationwide adaptive judo demonstration we just did for Veterans Day. There's Sergeant Kirby up front on the left. Mimi is next to him, and above Mimi standing is Kim. We've got Sheila, myself, and if you look behind Kim, the very tall gentleman is our son Nathan.
Right.
He's the immunology, structural immunology, immunogenetics researcher. And then we have Frank is standing there with the white hair. He went down the front of a handicap van face first because he stepped on his coat. And the driver ran around front just as he did a judo roll and came up.
Wow.
And he said, "Did you do that on purpose?" He said, "Don't have time to talk. Got to get on my judo Zoom in 10. Got up, went straight into the house with 2 titanium knees.
Get out of here.
Absolutely.
No, look, explain this blue suit, because we see these people with blue suits on.
Right.
Okay, and that's
That is Sergeant Kirby learning how to, with his body has had a stroke, we're retraining his body on how to fall safely again. He fell down 12 concrete steps before and was unharmed when he did his judo roll.
Right.
No broken hip, elbow, wrist, shoulder, and no brain injury.
Right.
Now his brain is talking differently to the right side of his body, so we're retraining his body to fall safely with the stroke.
Wow. Yeah, so they got blue suits on, you got blue suits on. Wait, I don't want them to think that you came in here with your pajamas on.
So we came up with the blue suits because many of our veterans, as Sheila said, are visually impaired, and they're able to see where they're able to see the blue suit, and they're able to see where the hand separates. And if you see, I have a bright orange watch, so they can see the techniques over Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Or in the same room.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that my uncle was a fireman. He told me a long time ago that men have vision impairment with green and red.
Yep.
Yeah, the color blindness, with green and red. That's why you see them have so many accidents, because they running men. Not you ladies, the men.
Just because of the way they drive. Oh no, it's their vision.
It's the vision. It's the green and the red cars out there. So I don't suggest that you buy green or. I have not bought a colored car since he told me that. They even been black or brown. I'm serious, okay? And I've been, but they still hit a deer ran into me. Okay, so he must like brown. Okay, so but I'm so glad that you were able to come with your wife this time, and that story I will never forget it. Okay, and you coming back again with your heartfeltness, you could just feel it when you come in here. The room just, it's nothing but love, and you could tell your wife has been with you all this time, that it's nothing but love, and your children,
right,
your young adults, okay, that they are such a gift from God. All of you are. And I want to thank you for coming back, and we have to have you come back again, and maybe we can bring the children or something.
And get Jonathan.
Yes, well, Jonathan's going to come back. He was supposed to come today, and he just wasn't feeling up to it, okay? So I understand that. But I think it's another picture that he wants to show. There you go.
So this is Jonathan at this demonstration across the U.S. and all the way to Jerusalem. And it's Jonathan doing a very special judo arm bar using the left side of his body. We've created a new type of judo for him. The woman who's standing is Sensei Diane Tamai Jackson. She is a world kata referee and judo expert. The gentleman he's doing the arm bar on is Sensei Lopez, and he just won a gold medal for the United States at the Pan American Judo Games in Guadalajara, Mexico. Okay. So we have the cream of the crop in the whole U.S. and notable around the world coming out for our veterans.
Okay. Now, was it another picture? Or was that
this is Sergeant Jonathan Hans Kirby sitting down on, and Frank is up to his left.
The white hair.
Yep. Frank Sykes, and then that's Ryan, our son, who's helping as a sensei, and he's also infectious disease epidemiologist getting out RSV vaccines.
All righty then. So we want to say good night. I thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Okay.
Many blessings.